I guess, is that a good word? Managed husbandry. That's what the term husbandry is all about. Managing the garden. And if you are the garden, this is his job. But you telling that you're the gardener. You are the rose bush that's saying, "Don't you cut me." You want to stick him, and you're saying, "Don't you cut me, don't you keep me, don't you groom me, don't you tell me nothing." That's what you're saying to a man of God, when the man knows that he's been put on this earth to manage the garden. That's why he was created. And you're calling him sassy. In other words, you're calling him a sissy. Sassy seems to be that term that the women use today to say he is not masculine. No, a man who shuts his mouth don't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn. He lets you go wild and do what you want to do. He is not going to husbandry you. He is not going to tend to you. He's going to let you go wild.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
But my father is pretty much my example for me to become a leader. But the thing is that if you're going to be a leader, you've got to be able to lead a group or an individual that might not necessarily want to be led. And that's something I realized as a young man, when I married. I know how to lead a crew that is on board with you. But when you have someone who does not believe in your leadership and does not believe in you and is not a follower, and when you don't, and you haven't ever experienced that, maybe it's too soon for you to choose a wife, or at least you have to pray to God to give you the wife that you need to, number one, to train you to become a leader, or maybe you're just not ready. And I can accept that. Maybe I wasn't ready because I just thought that was the next thing to do. When I graduated from high school, went and got my degree, my college degree, and I remember consciously thinking the next thing to do is to find me a wife. And I would not advise that today to young men, because I think that you must get a chance to live on your own first. And even when I went to college, I did not live on my own. I still lived at my home, in my parents' home, because Tuskegee, I'm from Tuskegee, and Tuskegee University was right there in Tuskegee, so I could live at home. So I really wasn't out on my own to learn who I was. And I think every man needs to live on his own so that he can see, how does he deal with his finances? How does he pay his own rent? How does he deal with his utilities? How does he deal with all the circumstances that's going to come that's new to you when you're establishing your first time living on your own? And if you can't take care of yourself, you probably don't need to be trying to take somebody else on to be the leader of a household if you have never led. Okay, so with that said, and with the sermons and the messages that we often get as men, I can't even say younger men, but this is what we're teaching younger men. But me, even as an older man, I think that there were some things I needed to learn that I did not get coming up in my father's home, because he did not, my dad did not teach me so much by word. He taught me by his actions. And so if you're not paying attention to what he was doing and his life, then we probably would have missed a lot, because my dad was a man of few words, except for when it came to maybe teaching at the church or whatever. But that just wasn't enough, and it's not enough when you're leading young men. So, and teaching them how to establish in a household, because there are certain things I had to learn on the job as a husband, as a father, even as a young God. Okay, so there were things I probably had out of order, and I think a lot of men have out of order. And because I taught that way, I think even my sons have some things out of order. Thank God for my last son, but he's been raised by his mother, so he's probably going to get some things out of order also. Okay, but anyway, and I think we all make mistakes, and then in life we have to kind of accept them, look back at them, try to learn from them, and try to change and pass on something better to the next generation. But the Minister Louis Farrakhan has so much wisdom and has passed on to us, and Minister Elijah Muhammad has passed on so much to us that can help us to become the men that Allah would want us to be. Okay, and but what pushed me to want to do this video today is this statement that I keep hearing. And I'm hearing this on Pop That Balloon. Men who are being interviewed, or women who are being interviewed, they're looking for the love of their lives. Hopefully, I hope they're looking for husbands or wives or whatever, someone to live the rest of their lives with, and possibly have a family, most certainly have a family. Okay, and I keep hearing women or young ladies or what have you say that they want a man who can lead, and they want a man who knows who he is and knows how to move or what have you. But then that's not what I'm seeing on these videos. They're saying that they want a man who knows who he is, and a man who can be a leader, and a man who can be a protector, and all these things. But nevertheless, as soon as they start being interviewed, they start taking charge of whatever the man says. They're critiquing him. They're critiquing even the man who may have some leadership. They are actually, condemning him for being able to speak up and to be able to correct that which is wrong, or those things that are out of order. And so they have this term for the man who has word, or a man that can speak, and they'll call him sassy. And I thought, isn't that interesting? The man that actually seems to have himself together, knows what he wants, knows what he's looking for, and if they speak to him in reference to the things that he say, and if he defends that with a statement that they don't like, they label him sassy. I thought that was very interesting. And listening to the scriptures today, and listening to our minister today, and as he read the scriptures and what have you, it was just amazing to me and to the other men that were there, how this was being received, and how the Bible was actually condemning them. I even heard a young lady today in one of the shows. She said, "We're Mother Earth." and therefore you're supposed to listen to them. I'm an animal science major, which also teaches us how to do, we take plant science and farming and all that kind of thing. And the first time I heard this term was husbandry. So I had to take a husbandry class, which involves how to manage and how to manage plants, manage a farm or animals or what have you. Managing the earth. And I thought about in Genesis, where the man was given the responsibility to take care of the garden. And I often think about how and my dad was a man who was gardening, and he taught us how to garden and how we had to manage the land, manage the planting, the seedlings, even right down to even the yard, keeping the grass cut, keeping the hedges cut. And my dad was a stickler for having that line just as straight. My dad would go as far as putting a leveling line on the hedges, and we had to come by and cut and cut those hedges to make sure that they were straight. The yard was always manicured. And you know what? If you don't manage these plants or manage your garden, if you don't do that, the earth is so fertile to where you can lose control. It would turn right back into the forest. And that's the way I see, maybe this is what the woman is saying. If you're saying that you are Mother Earth, that means that you have to be managed, baby. You have to be managed, because you'll be all over the place. You will reproduce so much, and if it's not managed, it will be all over the place. It'll be like walking back into the jungle. You ever seen a house unattended? Mother Earth will come back and take that lot back in. Trees will start growing all around it, and before you know it, you won't even be able to see that house anymore. So it has to be managed. That's just showing you the power of the earth. And so, women, when you say that you're supposed to have the last say-so, you don't want to be manicured by a man. And that's what a man is. He's for husbandry. We have to take care and manage the earth. And if you are the earth, as Mother Earth, we have to even manage you. Because if we don't, even the Bible talks about a single woman who is unmarried. She's all over the place. She has to be managed, or she will multiply. She will produce. The power that she puts out, if it is not managed, you'll have a jungle in no time. You'll have a jungle of growth. And it's not that you don't want the power of the growth. You have to manage this thing so that it is of any benefit to you. Do you understand this? So when you say that you want a man, I don't know, how does a man lead with his mouth shut? The women tell, he talks too much. He said this, he said that. How does a man lead from behind? A man has to get out front and lead. So for you to tell this man that he needs to shut up and listen to you, listen to you, maybe observe you, so that he can understand, okay, this has to be managed, because if I let this go too far this way, this can happen. Snakes will come in, rodents, rats, because you're growing. You're putting out the leaves and everything, all of that. If a man does not manage this, it is not going to be a blessing back to him. It's going to be a jungle. It's going to be undisciplined. Why? Because God has filled you with so much fertile energy and what have you. Like you said, you give something to a woman, she will multiply it. Yes, you will multiply it because the power is there. But God gave you a man to come in and discipline this, to keep it in a certain amount of order. Else you're going to have a jungle. You're going to have a wild woman that's out and all about. I don't want that type of a woman. And if I can't speak, if you make me think that it's feminine for a man to speak, what are you saying you want? What do you want? What kind of man do you really want? That doesn't sound like a feminine woman. A feminine woman would be someone who wants to be disciplined. I guess. Is that a good word? Managed. Husbandry. That's what the term husbandry is all about. Managing the garden. And if you are the garden, this is his job. But you telling that you're the gardener. You are the rose bush that's saying, "Don't you cut me." You want to stick him, and you're saying, "Don't you cut me. Don't you keep me. Don't you groom me. Don't you tell me nothing." That's what you're saying to a man of God, when the man knows that he's been put on this earth to manage the garden. That's why he was created. And you're calling him sassy. In other words, you're calling him a sissy. Sassy seems to be that term that the women use today to say he is not masculine. No, a man who shuts his mouth don't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn. He lets you go wild and do what you want to do. He is not going to husbandry you. He is not going to tend to you. He's going to let you go wild.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.